Díomh agus fáilte ribh ihe cultúr 2021 anseo I Mountmellick Muigh. Is clúra é seo oidhreacht téacstílaí inarmáile áling, so tá súlainn go mhuinfidh sibh tanamhas. Hello everybody and welcome to Culture Night 2021 here in Mountmellick in County Laois. This is a celebration of the heritage of textiles in our town and we hope you will enjoy it. Thanks for watching.
Here at the museum, we were delighted to collaborate with Yarnbombing Mountmellick in a joint project for Culture Night 2021, depicting the threads that bind us all in craft and through time. The inspiration for our project came from the annual displays of glorious multicolour wreaths which Yarnbombing Mountmellick design, knit, crochet and display. Wreaths symbolise concepts such as continuity, community, protection and balance, but also as objects of welcome, beauty and friendship when displayed on a front door, or to celebrate special seasons like the Christmas wreath, or indeed as a sign of broken hearts when placed in loving memory on a grave. So with all that in mind, we invited the museum studio embroidery class to create this wreath, adhering to the traditional pattern designs, stitches, fabric and thread of Mountmellick embroidery white on white work, as crafted for nearly 200 years, but presented in a very contemporary way.
It was a joy for us to partner Yarnbombing Mountmellick in this project. We compliment and congratulate them on their concept and decoration of the Four Seasons creation, which will be also on permanent display in the museum, along with other items which you will see later in the programme. It was our pleasure at the MDA building and the museum to be the venue for filming tonight's event and to witness all the creativity and talent of local people along with the filming and production team. Many congratulations one and all. Thank you for joining us remotely this evening and enjoy your viewing. The wreath comprises of 24 embroidered violas, 24 dog roses, 20 individual sprays of leaves, 4 passion flowers, 1 butterfly and 100 inches of knitted fringing, which is the traditional finishing on completed Mountmellick work and used here to cover the wreath base and add texture. The embroiders used a variety of stitches including stem stitch, buttonhole, cable plait, cable chain, French knot. They worked on the various pieces from their own home, but their collective effort working as a team is now evident in this finished original piece of contemporary embroidered artwork. We estimate that approximately 250 hours of creative design, sewing and knitting by a group of 21 talented ladies went into this project. We hope that the finished wreath symbolises our creativity, sense of community, even in the isolation and restriction of a global pandemic.
Poetry Town is a new initiative of Poetry Ireland in partnership with County Council Arts Offices. In Laois, we are delighted that Mountmellick welcomed the call to place poetry at the centre of everyday experiences. celebrating the pride, strength and diversity of the town. Through the Poetry Town programme devised for Mountmellick, the uniqueness of the town will be highlighted. It is fitting that we are here today in the Mountmellick Embroidery and Heritage Museum, which celebrates the history of textiles synonymous with the town. The Poetry Town programme, devised for Mountmellick, comprises of a series of activities, including the specially created mural by Kate Deegan, poetry underfoot, poetry workshops with Arthur Broomfield, yoga and poetry for mindfulness, and this special Poetry Laureate event, which brings the Yarnbombers, musician Ger Phillips, Poet Laureate Arthur Broomfield, and town poets Declan Furlong, Anne Egan and Sharon McEvoy. Congratulations to all who helped to make this such a great event, and a special word of thanks to Nina Horan for her leadership and dedication to make Poetry Town such a great occasion.
Memories. I remember you sitting on the hill, your soft brown permed hair, the grass between your fingertips. You'd break off squares of Cadbury's milk chocolate. I can still taste the smooth velvet on my tongue. We'd slide down the steep mud bank, you telling us to keep our shoes on. There was glass in the river. Pinkeens nibbling at our ankles, and you more excited than we were to catch them. I can hear you laughing now. You'd laugh so much it would catch your breath as you swished your net into the water, splashing us, and jam jars full of pinkeens and muddy water. Walking to school down Chambers Lane, the college looked so imposing, its high walls and steel gates. I wondered if I'd ever go there, 45 years ago. And the pigs squealing in the square, men chasing an escaped one. Did it even know what it was trying to evade? On the way home down Emmett Street, we'd gawp in the hardware provider's window, longingly at the Christmas display, and dream, not realising that you went in every week to pay off our desires. With friends, I'd skate up and down the streets of this town, into shops to stick blue tack under the counter. We were spies, the blue tack our bugs. We had so much fun, innocent, stupid. We'd cycle around 3 and 4 to a bike, laughing through small rivers and streams, exploring old houses, and farmers chasing us off, and we laughing. I remember you, across the fields to the cinder hills, and you'd roll down the hills with us, home-cooked ham sandwiches, TK red lemonade and Mikado biscuits. You'd have a cigarette, and when you'd blow out the smoke, long and slow, all the stresses of your life with it. I can hear you laughing now.
As a member of Yarnbombing Mountmellick, I'm delighted to introduce the next segment. Some of you will know us as the women who create a little bit of colourful mayhem each year in Mountmellick. In short, the town wakes up to a feast of woolly installations such as bicycles, benches and basically whatever we can manage to cover in knitting and crochet. This particular project is slightly different. By the way of explanation, we are very proud of the heritage of our town. Textiles features highly in our town's history. We wanted to reflect our respect for Mountmellick embroidery. We took the designs of Mountmellick work and recreated them in 3D colour. So it's a little bit of Mountmellick work and it's a little bit of us. We were gifted 4 chairs from the Presentation Convent where, as we are all aware, Sister Teresa Margaret spent hours teaching the craft. On the theme of the 4 seasons, these chairs are our gift to the museum. In contrast to the usual exploits of Yarnbombing Mountmellick, when our installations disappears as quickly as it appears, these chairs will be around long after we are gone. We hope you like them.
Heard of a different colour. Like eager teens off spinning dreams, they've granny striped their ways into our hearts. This sacred coven weave mandala magic, pearl sleek manoeuvres, plan operations far from prying eyes. Busy, busy, busy bees, glint-eyed, antsy pants, ripple puff queens of the dark arts. Cometh the hour, Mercury rising, these crochet hookers hit the early morning streets. Mistresses of the cable tie, no lamppost is off limits, no railing deemed unfit for bunting strips. They save sad corners for their most complex installations, for bleak is in the eye of the beholder. With pom-poms ripe to hang, staples at the ready, there's nowhere safe for grey or brown to hide. When this army screams go, don't dare stand in their way. They might just pull a glue gun and stick you to a ladder for an hour. They gift us colour, expecting nothing in return. Nothing, that is, but the knowledge that, as daylight reveals their art and word quickly spreads, we, the tribe, like children who awaken to snowfall in the morning, will attack the day in awe, fully certain to be ambushed by creations even wilder round each bend. Feast for the eyes, the valley smiles while restless little feet stamp. Explore, explore. An honour to know these angels soldier for our souls, deem us worthy of their concentrated skill, dare to make our town unique, to even make it cool. Yarn bombers mean business. They'll blow a hole right through your sensibilities. Don't let their whimsy fool you. Their love of yarn comes from the gut. They ply the seasons with their crafty ways. Strange forms might fruit at any time. Useless to think you'll catch them in the act. Pick a week, a month, chances are you're wrong. They'll have slip-stitched in the early dawn, then just like that, be gone.
Places of employment in small towns have huge significance. The wages earned put food on the table, friendships are formed, and even marriages materialise. Ireland has a long history of textiles. The oldest surviving piece of woven Irish wool dates from 750 BC and was found in County Antrim. The main indigenous textiles for which we became world-renowned were linen and wool. Although we have moved towards a service or knowledge-based economy today, that progression from agrarian and through to the industrial age has left an indelible mark. The Bat Leather Goods factory was occupied by Allied Textiles in 1967. In 1971, it manifested as Mountmellick Textiles. Until 2004, it was one of those workplaces as intrinsic to the town as our famed Christmas tree. The Textiles, as it was colloquially known, was no different. With its closure in 2004, it truly was the end of an era. Thankfully, local photographer Kevin Byrne recognised the implication and joined staff members John Hennessy and Har Koss as they closed the doors on a Mountmellick institution. Kevin's poignant photographs are on permanent display in Mountmellick Embroidery and Heritage Museum going forward.
I thought 2020 would be the year I would see my only daughter, Susan, marry the love of her life, Stuart Brodie. While they were busy building their lives together in Scotland, we shared ideas for the wedding decor in our regular phone calls. Susan knows I love to sew and crochet, so her idea for a table runner made from old crocheted doilies was something I couldn't wait to start. This was the something old, something new, amongst the borrowed and the blue. As a hairstylist, I had access to many listening ears on my search for doilies. Soon they started to pile up from my circle of clients and fellow Mountmellick residents. Susan is a nurse in Scotland. When COVID-19 reared its ugly head, Susan's work on the front line became notably more difficult. As the months passed, it became clear that the wedding she and Stuart had envisaged would not come to fruition. They chose instead to tie the knot in December 2020 on a smaller scale and without close family and friends. I didn't get to witness the wedding of my only daughter. However, in spite of resilience, I decided to continue with the plan on a smaller scale, but with as much love and intent to give her something of Mountmellick by Mountmellick. This is the story of something old, something new.
No evening would be complete in Mountmellick without a song. In that regard, I would like to introduce our local singer-songwriter Ger Phillips, who has composed a song specially for this event. Over to you, Ger.
Yeah, I've been to heaven. Yeah, I've been to heaven. Well, I wandered on up the old steep blue mountains. I went deep into the country. I kept on going till I came to the clear lake. And I lay down there in the green grass. And I looked up at the blue sky. I looked up where I was gonna go when I died. Just lying there in the green grass. Later on I picked some strawberries from the ditches. Yeah, on my way home. And I ate those little strawberries. I said all those little strawberries on my way home. It felt like for a minute I was in heaven. But someday this town is gonna be a city. Then I wandered down the old Bay Road, and I sat on the bridge over the River Barrow. And I just sat there looking at the water flow, and I could feel the wind blow, and I could hear the birds sing. There was no radio, there were no newspapers, there was no WhatsApp, and there was no Snapchat. I just sat there watching the water flow. And just for 1 second, it felt like I was in heaven. Yeah, but someday this town, it's gonna be a city. Down the old ridge road until I came to the Ivy Chapel, and I walked around and I read all the headstones. from 1841, 1867, 1892. I just walked around and read all those headstones. Then I looked out in the distance, and it felt like I could see forever. Yeah, up there at the Ivy Chapel. Then I looked down at the green grass, and I noticed it was greener than I'd ever seen her. Then I realized that the grass was greener exactly where I stood. Yeah, the grass was greener, it was greener exactly where I stood. Ah, but someday this town, it's gonna be a city. Yeah, it's gonna be a city. Someday this town, it's gonna be a city. Now I'm on my way home. Yeah, now I'm on my way home. Yeah, I'm on my way. Yeah, I'm on my way home. I'm on my way home.
Arthur Broomfield is the Poet Laureate for Mountmellick. A native of Ballyfin, County Laois, Arthur is a poet and Beckett scholar. Mountmellick has so much to inspire the poet. The hands and minds that made it, the history and culture written into its street names, its diversity enshrined in its motto, friendship through partnership, he says. I am truly honoured to have been chosen as Poet Laureate for this special town. Mountmellick sings a unique song. I hope my work will hum to its chorus. I am truly delighted to welcome Arthur here today and congratulate him on being appointed Poet Laureate for the town. It gives me great pleasure to invite him to share his poem created for the town of Mountmellick.
Hello everyone, I'm Arthur Broomfield and I'm honoured to be the Poet Laureate for Mountmellick. The poem I'm about to read has been inspired by the history and the events that run through Mountmellick over the centuries. The spirit of Mountmellick speaks. I am the patient spark in your embers. Go deep and you'll meet me in the airs you hum, the music that dances within you, even in a wet summer when your turf's been lost. I conceived you when the world was young, made you flesh in the ivy chapel of Acragar. I blessed you with water from the Onas River. I am the voice that whispered to William Edmondson, give up your soldiering and make friends in this place. I am Joseph Beale and John Bewley, the Pims, the Milners, and Tom Shannon, who woke hot with visions of woven cloth, trade, and the boast of a town with its own canal. I am the Dorans, the Dowlings, the Digans, the Conroys and the Corcorans, who marched their hobnails to your tanneries and breweries and mills, who spun yarns at Malrose corner of fish that got away, who dug the canal. I am the threads for Mountmellick lace, its chain stitch, its worms and French knots, its spike stitch and crewel stitch. I drew the needle from the sacred stone for Johanna Carter's hand, for Sister Teresa Margaret McCarthy's hand, for the hands of those who raise satin stitch for a simple flower, who stitch sprays of ferns, rose leaves and buttonholes for forget-me-nots. I am the spirit that waits for you through the quiet nights. Search for me when your time has come, where the April rays of the sun that bore me glisten on the morning dew. Thank you very much.
I grew up on a farm a couple of miles out the road, and in those times everyone had their special task to do, and mine was sewing. My mother, a native of Mountmellick, taught me all I knew about sewing, and in those days, as in now today, everything hopefully is getting recycled, and clothes in those days were patched and mended and reused many times over. When I used to do the sewing for my mother, I would start with her, and then when she saw I could continue, she would leave me. And then with the beautiful world of sewing and the world of craft, my mind would start to wander, and I'd think of the lovely days I had spent playing out in the fields. And this poem commemorates that, and many of the words in the poem are linked to stitching and its language. The Sewing Girl to her mother, in memory of Mrs. Eileen O'Connor. Cross stitch on even weave, back stitch on block weave. I am the sewing girl, sit on a hard chair, head bent to my task. Repair elbow and knee, tauten selvage northwards, mould my weft to crescent shapes of lively joints that leap and loop in childish play, or hoop with long labour in fields of waving hay, crackling oats. Buntings flutter on thorny bushes, I patch their void with flower thread, weave motifs of daisy-chain days, capture the call of young voices in seesaw forests. With a skein of blue, I braid the sky. Buttercup pearl of cotton frame droplets of sun. Stay and sow my adventures. Mitre corners guided by sea green eyes. I pipe my seam to your words. I am your sewing girl. Cross stitch on even weave, back stitch on block weave.
My name is Kate Deegan and I've painted this mural. It's inspired by a poem by Anne Egan called The Sewing Girl to Her Mother, which I thought when I first read the poem it had a lot of really great imagery. In the patterns there's dog roses and blackberries and floral patterns of the white on white in Mountmellick, and I chose a white font to go with the colour scheme, so it's kind of reminiscent of the doilies and different quilts and things that are seen in the museum. And it's a beautiful poem as well. There's a lot of really evocative lines, but we went with this one, which is I'm the sewing girl, sit on a hard chair, head bent to my task. So it all goes back to the embroidery and the hard work that goes into it.
Cordia. Hello, my name is Sheila and I am a member of this great bunch of ladies. I've been asked why it is I love being a member of this group, and I have to say that is now like a group of friends with a common bond. We are all here for each other. We are a team, and just so happens, we love to crochet and knit. We also love our town. It's as simple as that. Ma le mana, na McEvoy.
That concludes our programme for Culture Night 2021. Congratulations to all the contributors on a wonderful production. We hope you enjoyed the event. Goodbye and good night from Mountmellick.